So today's card is this cute little interlocking gatefold card. It looks like it might be tricky to make, but it's actually really easy. However, when I made this card, I used I'm using our So Many Stars stamp set and matching framelit or die bundle. However, I'm going to modify it slightly to make this a little bit more stronger here at the front and a little less flimsy, because as you can see it is quite flimsy, the original one that I made. So the one I'm going to make today will be just a little stronger so that it won't move around quite so much. I've also used the mercury glass acetate, which I shall show you that in a moment, and I've decorated the inside with some of the stars from our So Many Stars stamp set. So let's get started. Pop that aside. I'm starting with a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. Now, I'm going to give you the measurements in metric and also in inches, so I'll put those up for you in the description. But the metric measurements, this is a piece of 28 centimetre long cardstock, which means I've just cut an inch or so off the end, so it's 11 inches, exactly 11 inches long, or like I said, 28 centimetres. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing in my scoring tool, whatever scoring tool you use, and I'm going to score it at the make sure I don't have my cutting blade there, scoring at the 7 centimetre mark. So just popping it, making sure it's right there on the 7 centimetre mark. Okay. The piece is also exactly half of a piece of cardstock. So if you're using A4, it's 10.5 centimeters wide, which means you'll get 2 out of a piece of A4 cardstock. Or if you're using US letter cardstock, it's 4.25 inches wide. Okay, so now that I've got my score mark here, I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to use a bone folder here to crisply flatten that fold. And then I'm going to I could score the other end at 7 centimeters and it would hopefully join up. The problem is it doesn't seem to always join up well. So instead, to make sure it's going to line up properly, I'm actually doing it by hand instead of using my scoring tool, making sure it's right there, joining in the middle, folding over the edge, and then using my bone folder again to score that flat. So now I know that this matches precisely in the middle. So if you score one size and then bring the other one in to meet it, I find it's more successful than actually scoring the same distance from each end. For whatever reason, it doesn't always line up completely, but this way it does. Okay, so you can see that's the basic shape of the card, very easy. And then we're going to bring in a couple of other pieces. I've got a piece here of, this is Seaside Spray. I love the way it looks like with Night of Navy. And this is measured to be 6.5 centimeters. So if this panel here is 7 centimeters wide, this is 6.5 centimeters wide. And if you're using letter in the US, it's going to be 4.25 wide. Is that right? No, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's going to be 2.5 wide and it's going to be 4 long. Okay, so I'm just going to use some snail. You can use any adhesive you like, or actually I might even use, today I'm going to use Tombow. I do like Tombow when I'm using cardstock to cardstock, so I'm just going to quickly whip that on. And just line it up so it's centered right in that panel there, just like that. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I've also got a piece here of mercury glass acetate. Now this stuff, I've been using it on a lot of my videos lately, so I'm sorry if you've seen it before, but it's important to quickly go over this again. When you get this stuff, you can cut it to size with your trimmer just like you normally would, but I'm using here a pair of scissors, because what I'm going to do is one side feels a little bit smoother than the other, and that smoother side has actually got a layer of film on it, and if you take that off, it just makes it easier if you want to punch with it or use it to run through a die cut machine, and it just makes it, I think, just a little shinier when you're actually using it as a focal piece like I'm using here. I'm actually going to use glue dots to attach this, so I've got some here. Bring those in, and I find this stuff is really easy to hide the glue dots or whatever adhesive you're using. Glue dots are my preferred thing for acetate. I hide them behind a busier part of the design. So there's a piece there. And even if it's not right in the corners, that's still enough to hold it in place. So this piece is measured. I'll have those measurements up for you in the description. It's 1/2 centimetre less wide than the piece above. So each piece is 1/2 centimetre in from the previous piece, if that makes sense. So the acetate piece in this case is going to be 6 centimetres wide by 9.5 long. And you can attach them together before you put the whole thing on, totally up to you. I'll do it this way just so you can see either works just fine. So, oops, I should have just realised, I should have whipped off my backing first. Let me do that quickly. I forgot to do that. It doesn't matter a huge amount unless you're going to punch with it or cut it. Then it is definitely easier to cut with the film not attached. Okay, so let's just pop that right in the middle of that Seaside Spray piece, and then a little bit of snail on the back. Sorry, not snail. Tombow is called multi-purpose adhesive or mono liquid glue. It's got a few different names. We usually just call it Tombow. Okay, and then that piece just goes like that. So now you've got your 2 pieces coming in. Okay, now before I do the outside, I'm actually going to just bring my white piece here in the middle. I've measured this piece to be 13.5 centimetres long by 10 centimetres wide. So I can go ahead and stick that straight in, but I'm actually going to stamp over it. I've got some stamps here from the beautiful So Many Stars set that does come in a bundle with those gorgeous dies. So this is one of the stamps, and as you can see, when I say one, there's lots and lots of stamps on this great little piece here. So you can do lots at a time, just like that, and a few in this corner as well. That'll be fine. So there we go, that's ready to go. So I'll just pop that inside. I find Tombow quite quick and easy to use, and the reason I've been using it more and more lately is because it allows me the option, because it's a liquid, I have a little bit of time to wiggle it into place. So if it's not exactly where I want it, I can sort of move it ever so slightly. I'm not immediately committed. I like that. All right, so that's the inside done. Now we need to do our closing mechanism. So I mentioned before that the original one here, even though it works, and you do have to sort of put it together a little bit carefully, it is a little bit flimsy, so I've done something a little bit different this time. So you can see it kind of, you have to wiggle it to get it through, but that's okay. It's still really pretty. I think it's worth the effort. So what I've done, I'm using the So Many Stars or Stitch Stars framelit dies. These dies are fabulous. Some of them I've already pulled out. So I've actually got the biggest one, which is what I've used to cut this big star, which would normally go in here. And then on my original card, I went down 2 sizes from this one. But this time, to make a thicker star, I'm going to go down 3 sizes. So I've gone with the biggest star and this one, which is 3 sizes down from the biggest size. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cut one Night of Navy, and then I cut a second Night of Navy, so I have 2, just like this. And then I went back with my small star and I lined that up in the middle of my big star and ran it through again, so it cut the center out. So I've got the big star that I've cut with Night of Navy, and then I've gone back with the small one lined up here in the middle to take that middle piece out, which gives you that lovely sort of star frame shape. And I did it twice. Okay, I did 2 of these. And the reason I'm doing 2 is because I thought it would add some stability if I put the 2 together. It'll just make them a little thicker, and in my mind a little less flimsy than the original. I mean, the original is fine, but I think this is just going to give me a little more. So just want to line them up so the points match. Just like that. That was not quite lined up. There's that liquid glue. We can move it into place if it's not perfect. And now it pretty much is. Okay, so this is a thicker piece I have now, rather than the thinner one that was on the original card. So very, very easy to put into place. I'm just going to have it right here. Now I want this one, I only want to put my glue on half of the star. So if, for example, I decide I'm going to glue it to the right hand side, it doesn't really matter which side I do it to. Pick one. I'm in this case going to do it on the right hand side. So I want to start from here and I want to go all the way across and I want to finish up down here. Alright, so I'm just going to turn that over. So it's this half here that I'm doing. So from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to put my glue on this half, and by putting the lines, or where I've gone just to this side, not even right in the middle, it's just to the right there of the very middle, so that. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be popping this so the star is right in the middle and only the glue there is on the right hand side. Just hold it in place for a moment so that it has time to adhere and isn't going anywhere. So you should be able to see this is a lot more stable now than the original one. Okay, so by using two, it really makes it a much better mechanism. Right, now then we've got our other star. I've cut another one, so with that same little one, the same size as the one that we did in the middle. So this is the third largest, the third one down from the largest one. So when you have your stars, you just count them. So I started with the big one, then this size, then this size, then this size. Okay, so I just counted down. If you were going up the other way, 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth up from the smallest one. You can go whichever way you prefer. Alright, so then I ran it through again with some of my silver glimmer paper. So of course this star, because it's the same size as the one we cut out before, it's going to fit perfectly inside. So what I want to do is, I want to make sure that my glue is on this half of the star. So I want it to be on the left hand side. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to get my glue. Whoops. Get my glue. And I want it to be, I'm going to just to the left hand side here of the main line, the center line. Right, so it's on these points. I'm going to fold it closed, double check and make sure I'm putting it in the right place, and I'm going to insert it right into the hole, and I'm going to hold my finger on that left hand side where I'm wanting it to adhere. So I've got the blue star is adhered on the right hand half of the star, and the silver glimmer star is adhered on the left hand. So we've got one of them's on the right hand part and one of them's on the left. So now when I open this very, very carefully, I just need to make sure that it goes through. Once you've got it in there, you can actually take the blue star off. Let's just pull it open. There we go. So it's just going to sit like that. But it's important to put it through the blue star so that when you're lining it up, so it will be a perfect placement, because you want them once that's dry. Alright, so while I'm waiting for that to dry completely, I'll just leave it for a moment. I have also part of this same so many stitch stars framelit pack is this great little flourish of stars. I don't know if you can see it well. Really, really cute. Okay, and I've already cut one out of silver glimmer paper as well. But what I didn't do was I didn't push all the pieces out, because I want to show you that not only does it create this cute flourish, but it also makes 5 cute little stars. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's another one there. All right, so I'm not even going to use the rest of it. I'll save this for another project. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, where's my 5th star? My 5th star went somewhere. Oh, it's stuck on the back. There it is. Haha. All right, that's the biggest one. So I definitely want that one. Right, so I'm actually going to attach a couple of these stars. I like the big one, and I think maybe the next one down. So those two. So there's 2, a large, a medium, and then 3 smaller ones. So I'm just grabbing some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to put a mini dimensional in the middle of the back of the big star, and then a mini dimensional in the middle of the back of the medium star, and we're going to pop one of those up here, take the back off, and one of those down here. Oh, if I can get the back off it. It's my fingernails. So I'm using a new type of polish, and I'm finding it a little bit difficult to pick things up. All right, so then this is now dried. It doesn't take very long at all. When you're opening and closing, you kind of insert the silver star inside, and then you'll find it actually holds it closed quite nicely. See that? Isn't that great? So you can actually display it. You could sit it up, or you could have it open. So you can have it open, half open, just like that. I kind of like it with the star going through like that, so people can see that it is actually an interlocking gatefold card. Very cute and easy to do. Very simple little one. I hope you enjoyed that today. If there's anything that you would like to purchase, whether it be the beautiful new stars bundle or anything else from our gorgeous holiday catalogue or any of our other catalogues, please do contact me. If you're in Australia and you don't already have a demonstrator, you can visit my online store to place your order. Have a fabulous day, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.